The question everyone is asking, snow or ice, because the difference matters. Snow you can shovel, ice you can tee. Snow is an inconvenience. Ice takes down power grids. This morning, parts of the South already have their answer, and it is not the answer some were hoping for. Central Arkansas woke up to a mix. 4 to 5 inches of sleet and snow in Bryant, some ice underneath. Harrison seeing 2 to 3 inches of powder. Little Rock getting pounded by heavy sleet. The precipitation started yesterday evening. It hasn't stopped. Temperatures remain in the low teens. Nothing's melting. Memphis got the transition everyone feared might happen further north. 3 inches of snow overnight. Beautiful while it lasted. Then came the sleet. Heavy, loud, ongoing. Temperature 14 degrees. Wind chill 1 below zero. By tonight, the city could have 6 to 10 inches of mixed precipitation. Quarter inch of ice or less underneath. Enough to cause problems. Not enough to catastrophically fail the power grid. That's the good news buried in bad news. Sleet instead of freezing rain. The difference saves infrastructure, but the battle isn't over. That line between snow and mixed precipitation is trying to push north. Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky are fighting to stay on the cold side. The outcome of that fight determines whether roads are merely impassable or whether entire counties lose power for days. Let me explain what's happening in the atmosphere, because understanding this helps you understand why your forecast might still change in the next few hours. Cold air sits at the surface across the entire region, no question about that. Temperatures well below freezing everywhere from Oklahoma through the Carolinas. That's not the problem. The problem is aloft. Between 4,000 and 8,000 feet, there's a layer of above freezing air. Meteorologists call it the warm nose. Stupid name for something that causes this much trouble. But the name stuck. Snow forms in the clouds above this warm layer, falls through it. If that warm layer is thin, the snow partially melts into slush, then refreezes into sleet pellets before hitting the ground. Sleet. Annoying, dangerous for travel, but it doesn't coat power lines. If that warm layer is thick, the snow completely melts into rain. Then that rain falls into the cold air near the surface and freezes on contact with anything it touches. Freezing rain, silent, destructive, coats everything, takes down trees and power infrastructure. The difference between sleet and freezing rain is measured in a few hundred feet of atmospheric depth in that warm layer. Models struggle with that level of precision. That's why forecasts change even hours before the event. Memphis transitioned to sleet. That warm layer was present, but thin enough to allow refreezing before surface contact. That's favorable given the circumstances. Now the concern is whether that warm layer advances further north. If it does, Nashville, Murfreesboro, Cookeville, parts of Kentucky deal with the same transition, or worse. Current observations suggest the warm layer is trying to push north, but meeting resistance. That gives me some confidence, not certainty. Confidence. That Middle Tennessee sees mostly snow with periods of sleet rather than sustained freezing rain, but this is close. Small atmospheric changes in the next 6 hours determine the outcome. Nashville experienced something else this morning that tells us about atmospheric conditions. Delayed onset. Radar showed the city covered in precipitation at 7 in the morning, yet nothing fell, not a single flake. Residents checked windows repeatedly. Still nothing. Finally, at 7:15, light snow began. That's a dry layer near the surface. Precipitation falls from clouds, evaporates before reaching the ground. Eventually, the layer saturates and snow breaks through. But you've lost accumulation time. Every hour of delay is an hour you don't get back. Chattanooga is experiencing extreme variability. Heavy snow in some neighborhoods, nothing 20 minutes away in neighboring communities. Ooltewah reporting good accumulation. Bradley County seeing snow pile up, but timing and intensity vary wildly across the metro. This is typical for these systems in the South. Geography matters, elevation matters, even which side of a ridge you are on matters. Forecasting for specific streets becomes nearly impossible. Kentucky sits cold and waiting. Bowling Green reporting nothing mid-morning. Eastern Kentucky at 12 degrees, hoping this doesn't to flip to freezing rain. The cold is locked in. The moisture is supposed to arrive. But they're not connecting yet in some areas. Northwest Georgia didn't have to wait. Freezing rain started before sunrise. Sleet mixing in. Power flickering already in some locations. That ice loading on lines before the main event. Not a good sign. The Carolinas remain calm. Temporarily. Fayetteville at 33 degrees early morning, dropping to 32 by afternoon. Laurinburg watched temperatures crash, 42 degrees at 5:30 in the morning, 34 by 8, 7-degree drop in 2.5 hours. Wind increasing, the cold air is winning. Precipitation holds off until tonight, then their battle begins. Regional breakdown, what's coming and when. Arkansas and Oklahoma are through the worst of the heavy precipitation. What accumulated is staying put. Temperatures remain well below freezing through the weekend. Roads want to be passable until Monday at earliest in many areas. Some rural roads might not see a plow for days. If you ray there, you ray staying there. Memphis has heavy sleet continuing through midday. Possible transition back to snow this afternoon as the warm layer aloft weakens. That's what models suggest. Whether it verifies is another question. Total accumulation by tonight, 6 to 10 inches combined. Ice underneath, 1/4 inch or less. Travel impossible. Power outages possible, but not the widespread failure freezing rain would cause. Middle Tennessee is the critical zone. Nashville finally seeing snow as of 7:15 this morning. The delayed start already cost accumulation time. Now the question is whether that warm nose pushes far enough north to change precipitation type. If it stays south, 4 to 7 inches of snow. The region can handle that. If it pushes north, periods of sleet or freezing rain mix in. Snow totals drop. Ice potential rises. That changes everything. Based on current temperature profiles and trends, I lean toward mostly snow with some sleet. But the National Weather Service Nashville office is updating frequently. This could shift in either direction over the next several hours. Chattanooga south through northern Georgia is mixed precipitation territory. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, all possible depending on exact location and timing. Valley locations tend to stay colder. Higher elevations might see more of one type or another. But ice accumulation is the primary threat across the zone. 1/4 to 1/2 inch in some spots. That brings down trees. That takes out power. Preparation time is over in this area. If you haven't charged devices, filled water containers, found flashlights, do it now. You might have an hour, maybe 2. East Tennessee from Knoxville northward should stay cold enough for all snow. Moisture penetration inland is the question. Current thinking, 3 to 6 inches. But if dry air persists near the surface like Nashville experienced, some areas might underperform. Kentucky along Interstate 64 and south is watching that warm layer. Lexington and the Bluegrass region should stay cold, 4 to 8 inches depending on location. Southern Kentucky near Tennessee is marginal. The line will be sharp. Communities 10 miles apart could see dramatically different outcomes. The Carolinas get hit tonight into Sunday. The system reorganizes offshore, strengthens. Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, snow starts late tonight. Heavy at times overnight into Sunday morning. Model disagreement remains significant. The European model has been consistently more aggressive than American models. I am splitting the difference. 6 to 10 inches for central North Carolina. The Piedmont could see more if rates intensify overnight. South Carolina and northern Georgia along Interstate 20 are under winter storm warnings. Columbia, Greenville, Athens. Snow begins overnight, 4 to 8 inches likely. The southern extent is uncertain. Atlanta is on the bubble, 2 to 5 inches current forecast. A track shift of 50 miles changes that dramatically. Virginia sees snow Sunday. Shenandoah Valley through Richmond develops Sunday morning, continues through afternoon. 4 to 8 inches in valleys, more possible in mountains. Temperatures are running cold. Charlottesville Airport hit 9 degrees this morning. Below forecast. If that continues, snow ratios increase. More accumulation per unit of liquid. Good for snow lovers, bad for travel and infrastructure. Mid-Atlantic and Northeast have a potential system Monday into Tuesday. Too early for specifics. Model spread is wide. The pattern supports a significant coastal storm. Track will determine impact. By Sunday evening, we'll have better information. What you need to do now depends on where you are. Arkansas, Oklahoma, West Tennessee. You are in it. Don't go outside unless absolutely necessary. Don't drive. Period. Emergency services can reach everyone. You are on your own if you get stuck. Middle Tennessee, Kentucky. If precipitation hasn't started, you have hours, not many. Get essential items now. By afternoon, conditions deteriorate. North Carolina, Virginia. You have until tonight. Use the time well. Medications, pet food, batteries, firewood. Fill your gas tank for emergency heat, not for driving. Power outages are likely in some areas. particularly where ice accumulates. If you have elderly family, medical equipment, figure out your backup plan before the lights go out. Where will you go? Who will you call? Know the answers now. Check on neighbors, older people, people alone, people with health issues. Make sure they re-prepared. Make sure someone will check on them. Healthcare workers, first responders, essential workers. If you've been told to prepare to stay at work, pack for several days. Roads will be impassable longer than most people expect. Pets need shelter and unfrozen water. Bring them inside. Livestock need windbreaks and extra feed. Cold dramatically increases their needs. Questions I keep seeing. Will the warm layer melt existing snow and ice? No, that layer is aloft. 4,000 to 8,000 feet up. Surface temperatures stay well below freezing. The warm layer affects falling precipitation, not surface conditions. Nothing melts until surface temperatures rise above freezing. That's CS Monday at earliest. Why are snow totals lower than earlier forecasts? Models are adjusting to observed conditions. The northern extent of heavy precipitation trended south, that's real, not hype being walked back. Southern areas are performing at or above forecasts. Arkansas and northern Mississippi are getting hammered. Northern areas are seeing lower totals because atmospheric dynamics are playing out differently than models predicted days ago. Don't fixate on a specific number from a long-range model run. Forecasts evolve. That's normal. Looking beyond this system, Monday, the storm exits, cold stays. Nothing melts through Tuesday for most areas. The potential northeast system Monday into Tuesday remains uncertain. We'll know more Sunday evening. Longer term, the pattern stays cold and active. Polar vortex remains displaced. Arctic air continues flowing south. More winter weather opportunities ahead. Perspective. Historic? For Arkansas and northern Mississippi, yes, Little Rock could see a top 10 snowstorm. For Tennessee and Kentucky, significant but not unprecedented, similar to events in the 90s and 2000s. For the Carolinas, if totals verify, it's major, but totals aren't the story. Ice is the story. Extended cold is the story. Infrastructure strain is the story. If your forecast totals dropped, be grateful if you re-avoiding ice. Snow is manageable. Ice isn't tea. Don't encourage travel for anyone in affected areas. Roads are bad. They'll stay bad. To everyone working in this, medical staff, first responders, utility workers, thank you. Most people get to stay home. You don't. This forecast has been challenging. That warm layer created uncertainty. But the core message remained constant. Significant winter weather, dangerous conditions, extended cold. The details adjusted. That's forecasting. Stay safe. Check on people. Don't drive. Have a plan for power loss. Updates continue through the weekend. Monitor the National Weather Service for your area. This is serious, but we've done this before.